Spider-Man, Spider-Man, eating all the ass he can. Spins a web, it's really seeming. Up inside, I'm here for the hose. Look out, speed of the month.
Welcome, everyone, to the Beat of the Month podcast. My name is Brian, and we are here doing a deep dive of Spider-Man and Miles Morales. This is episode 17. 18? 17. Episode 17.
18's too old.
With me tonight is Moose.
Yo, yo.
Melvin.
What up, what up?
Darkside.
What's shaking, bacon?
And Muff.
It's only herpes if it's all over.
All right, so we are taking a deep dive into the game Spider-Man. This was released exclusively for the PlayStation 4. Recently had a remastered edition come out for PlayStation 5. The PS4 version came out in 2018, developed by Insomniac Games. They did Resistance Fall of Man, Spyro the Dragon, Sunset Overdrive, and then Melbro, your favorite, Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, those ratchets.
You guys play any of their other games? I know, Melvin, you love Ratchet and Clank, but anybody else play any of the other ones?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all about Ratchet and Clank.
I played Sunset Overdrive. I never beat it, though.
I want to play. That's so bad, man. I wish it wasn't exclusive to Xbox.
I played Cruising USA.
I did play Ratchet and Clank and Spyro the Dragon back in the day. I also played the Resistance games. And, yeah, I think that's it.
I've never played any of their games. I was surprised. I mean, they're big titles, but I've never played any Insomniac games before Spider-Man.
You have Resistance, right?
I might have, like, the first one. I probably bought it for, like, $3 or something, but...
Spyro the Dragon?
Wasn't the first Resistance on PS2 or something?
No, first one was a PS3 launch game.
Yeah,
it was a PS3 launch game.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then as far as Spider-Man games go, I mean, my experience with Spider-Man games is also very limited. I played Maximum Carnage for the Genesis. You guys play any other Spider-Man games?
Maximum Carnage, is that the one that had Venom in it? And it was like a comic book looking side-scrolling beat 'em up?
Yep.
And it didn't, like, wasn't the cartridge red, too?
On the Super Nintendo, it was.
Yeah, that game was amazing, man. That was my shit back in the day. That was the shit.
I played the Xbox game, and I played, what the hell? There was, like, some, like, Windows 95 game or something where it was, like, you set up these comic book scenes, and it was, like, it was pretty shitty, don't get me wrong, but it was cool back then. But I don't even think it was, like, actually, like, interactable. You just, like, set up the scene as like you would a comic. It was kind of cool. I don't remember what it was called.
I played Spider-Man on the original PlayStation, developed by Neversoft. You guys remember them?
I know that was like probably the most popular Spider-Man game before this one.
Yeah, back in the day that was pretty good. I'm sure it doesn't hold up as well today, but back then it was awesome.
What was the one on Xbox? I remember playing that one. It was like Grand Theft Auto.
Was that?
Do you guys remember that one?
Based on the movie, like I know there was a version of that from Spider-Man 2. This supposed to be open world.
I think
Tobey Maguire was in it.
No, it was. I thought it was before that. I don't know though. It was original.
I've never heard it, played of it.
You've heard of it? You've played it.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance. That's Spider-Man I've been playing. That was a good game.
Yeah, I played that too. Forgot about that.
How about in any movies or comic books? Do you guys get into Spider-Man outside of video games at all?
I do like Tobey Maguire's.
I was big on the original, not the original, I guess the 90s cartoon. I was pretty big into that. I don't know if you guys watched that.
Into the 90s cartoon. I don't think I like Tobey too much, man. I like the new kid. What's his name? Tom Holland?
Yeah,
Tom
he's
Holland,
good.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, I like that guy.
He's good. But the Tobey Maguire one, the first, I never saw the third, but the first one was really good.
The third one was terrible.
Yeah, the third one wasn't all that great, but yeah, the first two were good with Doc Ock and Green Goblins.
Yeah, those were good.
And I do like the. Have you guys seen the Fat Spider-Man memes online?
No.
Just Google Fat Spider-Man memes. You'll love it.
All right. So then moving into the game of the evening, Spider-Man. So it's an open world, beat 'em up, action adventure. You travel around the city, do various missions, get various collectibles. So start things off. Let's talk about the city and moving around the city, because that's where at least one of the aspects I think of Spider-Man that's pretty unique, because most open world games, you have a car or you have a horse or you have something to get around. But in this, you're just, slinging around on your webs and things like that. So what did you guys think in general about kind of moving around the city and the city itself?
It was
Best
a
open
lot
world I've
like,
ever played.
what?
Wait, what's that? Say that,
The
Mel.
best open world I've ever played. In
Oh,
terms
shit.
of the world. Cause look, let's think about it though. Like most open worlds, you have a horse, right? And horses in 99% of video games are shit. Like there's never like horses aren't good in video games most of the
How
time. If you
how
guys
are
think about it.
how are horses in most open world games?
Like
I mean,
Zelda, you ride a
like
horse, and Witcher,
Skyrim, you
all
probably
these-
have a horse, right?
Skyrim, you can get a horse, but a lot of times you didn't really ride a horse. You could, but it
So
wasn't optimal.
the Spider-Man, it reminded me a lot of Crimson Sky, and there ain't no horse up in Crimson Sky.
Everything goes back to either Tecmo or Crimson Skies or what?
How do you get around in Skyrim? Because Skyrim has a huge map. I figured there must have been some kind of horse, or you're not just walking everywhere, right?
You could fast travel after a while.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, it's been a while since I played Skyrim, but I thought like one of the classes you kind of like teleport around a little bit, like a magic class.
I did play Skyrim for about 4 hours, so I remember everything.
4
perfectly.
hours, holy shit! I put like 200 hours in Skyrim.
And I'm pretty sure that you just run around. You don't get a horse.
You can
I
get a
think
horse.
You can fly a dragon, so I think
So-
maybe.
You cannot fly a dragon.
Whatever.
Final Fantasy 11, you got to raise and ride your own choo-choo-boo. That was awesome.
So stuff like that is like, because you never get anything in Spider-Man to like move around faster. I mean, you can fast travel, but other than that, you're just slinging around the city. So I thought that was pretty unique. I guess I didn't realize in Skyrim you're not. I thought you rode a horse all over the place.
No, you can, I think, but you have to either like rent a horse or steal a horse or something.
You have to
It's
rent
not
a
like-
horse?
it's not-
Rent
in the
a
game,
horse.
yeah. You go to like a stable and you rent a horse.
I hate riding horses in video games, man. They're always bad.
It's not
What about-
great.
What about
Save a
the
horse, ride a cowboy kind of guy, are you,
little
Melvin?
glider in Breath of the Wild, man?
That's true. If you count that as locomotion, yeah, which I guess you
Yeah.
would. Yeah, that's really fun.
Locomotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, locomotive
But I guess-
is like a train. Choo choo, motherfucker.
Choo choo.
Choo-choo, baby.
But I guess getting back to Spider-Man, like usually like with open world games, it's not really fun running around the open world. It's not really like the kick of the. I guess Breath of the Wild was kind of cool seeing the big open world because you can climb anything. But most open world games, like traversing really isn't like the selling point for me. But Spider-Man, like traversing the world was actually one of the funnest things to do in the game.
Oh
So-
yeah.
So is Destiny considered open world with a traversive step?
Oh, transversive steps, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The locomotion in Spider-Man was really fun because I think and this is like a theme throughout the game, they emphasized having fun in doing it. Like they tried to add a little realism. Like if you're in the middle of Central Park, you can't just web sling all the time because there's nothing to attach your web to. But otherwise, like you don't have to do a lot of building up momentum. Like it's real quick. It's real easy to get going like very fast, which I
Yeah.
thought they did a good job of not making it try. I mean, you're Spider-Man, so it's not going to be realistic, but I thought they did a good job of making sure that you can get around quickly and that it can be fun.
Yeah, I like that when I played it the first time, I didn't use the fast travel once.
Really?
'cause
The whole time?
The whole game, not once.
Then you never got the platinum. The first.
Well, I got
time.
it at the end. That was like one of the last things that I did. But
See, I would
Yeah.
not have fast traveled, but when I tried it, now I played it on PS5, the load times were they were non-existent. So I
Yeah.
was like, all right, I'm going to fast travel all over the
That's
place.
what
it
I
gave you
did.
incentive to like spam it.
It
Yeah,
did,
I
yeah,
fast
because it
traveled
was so
on
fast.
PS5. I fast traveled a lot.
Were
My
there
second
load times on
playthrough, I did,
PS4?
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it will take some time to load on PS4.
So that might have changed my like method of playing if there were load times, but because it was so quick on PS5. Yeah, I fast traveled all over the place once I unlocked it.
Yeah, my second playthrough, I did a lot of fast traveling.
And then just like in terms of like just being in New York City, it really felt like you were in New York City traveling around, like the environment, so many big buildings all over the place, and there were like some buildings that were huge, man. I would just run to the top of the building and just look out on the top of the building at the scenery, man. It's just like gorgeous too, like the remastered version on PS5.
Yeah,
I thought they
Avengers
did a really
Tower.
good job. Yeah.
Now, do you think the game loses anything because almost immediately out of the gate you can go to the top of the highest building and jump off, and then like that's cool, but that kind of takes a little bit of the wow factor out of it for me because you can go anywhere like immediately. There's no kind of mystery in the city of like going to new places.
What do you mean? There's no mystery?
Yeah, what's that supposed to mean?
Like,
You go there,
just
all
because
kinds of
you-
buildings.
I mean, in a lot of open world games, everything will be locked off in the beginning, and then you'll eventually be able to expand the new areas. This one, it's just like, hey, guess what? The city is yours. Do whatever you want, whenever you want, however you want.
That's what I mean. Like you can go anywhere. So I mean, you can see most of what the map has to offer in like the first half hour of the game, really.
So for you like your games to like introduce new areas for you to explore and get excited about.
Yeah, I would say.
I
I mean,
understand.
and that's not to say I didn't like the city, but I think like with Zelda, when I was like 100 hours in and I was still exploring like brand new sections of the map that looked a lot different from where I had been, that was cool and exciting. Where Spider-Man didn't have that as much because you see Avengers Tower, you climb up it, you jump off the top, and then it's like, well, that was the coolest thing I'm gonna do, maybe.
So how is that different than like in Zelda? You're like, oh look, there's a mountain. I climb up it and then I jump off.
Because there's like the mountains can be like an hour away from each other when you're traveling. Like they're really spaced out,
So-
and there's like a bunch of like different like mountains you can climb and like places to go.
So you're like, the longer it
And-
takes to get from point A to point B makes the game better? Or I don't
No,
get it.
Zelda limits
maybe,
you also
kind
like
of.
with the gear you have, right? You can't get into the cold area or the
Right.
hot area unless you have the right gear
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was.
Brian wants limits.
Yeah, gear would be nice in that fucking game.
All right. Anybody else have any thoughts on the city in general, or just moving around the city?
So the city. So my only negative thing I could say about it, I like the fact you can go anywhere. It was pretty cool, but the people were very like kind of cookie cutter, like the actual people just running around, which I understand. It's a big game, but like you could high five some random people, and I think one of the trophies was like high five 5 people or something, and that was kind of cool, but it didn't seem to really do anything or matter. You know what I mean? Like I wish there was more like engagement with the random population. You know, like
I
a
thought the
purse snatch or
bystander-
something.
I thought the bystanders were kind of cool because like when I went down to the street level for like one of the first times, people are like, "Oh, look, there's Spider-Man. Hey, Spider-Man!" Like I thought that was kind of neat. Like when you're swinging stuff around, like they're all ducking around you and stuff.
Yeah, I agree with actually both of you guys. When it comes, there wasn't really a whole lot of direct interaction with the
Yeah.
pedestrians. They were just kind of there for show, but they also, were cool to be like, oh, Spider-Man, So it was, I like
they
the
don't
one
get pissed
aspect
when
of
you
it, but
jump
it'd be
away
cool
from them.
it'd be cool if like you could like a Grand Theft Auto like punch one and see what happens, But
Yeah. Well, like if like a crime happened in front of you, where like because like before it was always like oh, there's a crime reported here, then you go there, but like if you happen to be like sitting somewhere and you see somebody grab a purse or whatever and start running and then you tackle the guy, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah,
that
no,
would
you're
be
right.
dope.
You're right.
I mean, I don't expect Spider-Man to like start banging hookers or whatever, and like
Oh
anything
man,
like that. But
dude, that'd be so awesome.
Muff
If he
wouldn't have
start
finished the
banging
game,
hookers,
that was
start
okay.
burning them.
yeah.
Hey man, I would just
But-
instant replay that over and over and over.
Whenever there was random encounters, they were always just a little bit off of screen, like they were never like, oh, something's happening right next to you. It's always
Yeah,
like
that's
just a few blocks down the road.
Yeah.
yeah.
One thing I wanted to mention, I don't know because I don't know if we're gonna mention it later, but did you guys notice like the voice acting in the game? I thought it was really good. Like so, if you were like talking to Mary Jane while you were just on the ground or standing still, he would have a certain voice. But like if you would talk to Mary Jane while you were swinging, you could hear like him like getting harder and like you would hear a different voice from Spider-Man. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah, I noticed it when you were like in the middle of combat and stuff.
Yeah.
Like So I thought maybe that was scripted, those conversations. But you're saying just in general, like if you're swinging around, he talks different.
Yeah. So I think I heard they have to like record all the different lines twice. Like one for like standing still, but then like if you're swinging around, like the lines kind of sound different.
Yeah, I didn't notice that just in general dialogue. That's cool.
I did notice that the attention to detail was good. And I mean, since we're on the topic, everybody in this game, for the most part, did an excellent job, voice talent wise. I really have nothing to complain about their acting or anything like that.
So the voice actors, going to the voice actor, like in the PS4 version, it was the voice actor in the PS5 version, same guy.
The voice, yes, they just changed the face.
They changed the face, okay.
And I hated that, man. I like the old guy from PS4.
Yeah, the PS4 has a different face, and everybody.
Yeah. So
everybody made a huge deal about that.
The voice of Peter Parker, I can't remember his name, but he's the same guy in both games. But the face is not matched up with the voice in the PS4 version. The PS5 version is the face of the actual voice actor.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was a pretty big point of contention for a lot of people that played PS4.
Royalty checks are going to be a lot nicer in the PS5.
Yeah, the royalty checks. I think the main thing was like they wanted to sync up like the face actions with the voice and his own face, I guess. But he was the only character that changed. So like, did everybody else look like the voice actor or what?
Oh, I don't know.
So Darkseid, you were the only one that played it originally on PS4, right? Me and you.
Yeah,
and Muff.
Muff. But I don't think Muff played PS5. So my question was, did you like the PS4 look better or the PS5 look better?
Muff.
Muff don't know shit.
I wouldn't say I liked it more or less. It was just a little different, Starting the PS5 version, it was a little jarring. It's like, oh, that guy looks different, But I got over it, And then the first few minutes of seeing without his mask on. I always thought that the PS4 version, the guy, he seemed like his eyes were a little too sunk in for my taste.
Sunken eyes,
need him, right?
It wasn't a deal breaker. It was just like, he seems like his eyes are a little sunken, and that's it. And then I moved on.
Damn, you were pissed.
All right, so we're gonna move into the combat then. So combat's a big part. Whenever you're doing missions, you're fighting guys and stuff like that. The combat's fairly simple. I mean, as far as like your actual like punching attacks, it's just one button, but they switch it up a lot because you have like web moves that you do with another button, and you kind of like mix and match those to do different attacks, like bringing guys closer to you or like ripping their guns away from them. And then depending on the enemies that you're fighting, there's different ways you have to go about fighting them. Like if a guy has a shield, you have to do a move where you like slide underneath of him and then punch him from behind. But if he's got like a melee weapon, then you've got to like do a move to like fling him up in the air. So I guess general combat, what did you guys think about that?
It was good. I mean, it's a play off of the Batman Arkham games. They kind of, I don't want to say invented that combat style, but they pretty much did. With the punch, parry, dodge, sense danger, dodge, sense danger, dodge.
And fighting multiple people at once, like it flowed really well. That's how the Arkham games were too, where you could just jump from enemy to enemy with like punches. You know what I mean? Like you didn't have to like run to each enemy if they were like within close proximity. And the dodging was what made the game. Like you feel like you can be basically invincible with how easy it is to dodge and like perfect dodges and whatnot.
Yeah, when the Spidey sense goes off and you like hit that was cool. That made it feel like you could be surrounded by guys, and like even if they're off screen, where normally you'd get like blasted by bullets, because the Spidey sense, you can like move out of the way of the bullets and stuff. That was cool.
I was just gonna say all the Spider-Man abilities, the webbing, all those little gadgets that you had access to. At the end of the game, you have like a dozen different gadgets.
Yeah, what was your favorite gadget? Mine was probably the little like robot spider guy that would just like shoot people.
Yeah, same.
I would always use that.
Mine was the sticky mind, where you could shoot it on somebody's chest, and then if they turned towards one of the other enemies, it would suck them both together.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That's pretty much like Muff's semen package, I'd say.
That's why we ain't seen Spyro and his cats for a while. Ain't COVID.
Yeah, I thought it always felt fresh though, like because there were so many different like skill tree unlockables you can unlock to do new moves and stuff. I don't feel like the combat ever got stale. There was always like a new move or a new gadget, a new ability to kind of keep it fresh, throughout the entire game. So I thought that was pretty dope.
One thing combat related, I guess I really didn't like. It wasn't really combat, but whenever you had to play as Mary Jane, you need to like do stealth.
Yeah.
I like
Morales.
dreaded every one of those missions.
They weren't bad in the beginning. I was like, oh, this is kind of a cool change of pace. Near the end of the game, it was too much. Where I was like, all right, I don't want to keep doing these stealth sections.
Yeah. It wasn't as fun.
I didn't mind them my first playthrough, but my second playthrough, I was like, it's too much. And I understand why they put them in there. They're like, oh, we need to break up the combat and not have it be all the same thing throughout. But it's like, I would have preferred if it was just Spider-Man throughout the game.
Yeah,
like have him. If he's got to be stealthy, have him be a
like
little
that
stealthy
or something. Yeah.
I kind of disagree. I mean, I guess the gameplay wasn't like crazy good in those sections, but I think just overall they did a really good job in like character building. Like you really got to know Mary Jane in this game, and you also really got to know Miles in this game, which really they had the forethought to set that up to introduce Miles in the second game as the main character. So I think I like that they made you spend time with those characters to really get to know them, understand their backstory, and that kind of bled over into the second game. I thought it was a good decision.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like
Miles Morales for sure.
Yeah, and that's why I think kind of jumping ahead to Miles Morales a little bit, but I liked his character more than I liked the main Spider-Man character because there was no character building of Spider-Man. Like he's already Spider-Man when you start the game. So I did think that was cool that they introduced Miles Morales in this game and you saw his origin story. So by the time you're playing as him, like that's already been laid out for you. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say there was no character building with Spider-Man and Peter Parker.
I mean, there's not none, but because you don't get that beginning, that origin story, I didn't feel as connected with him, I guess.
Yeah, but haven't you seen the origin of Spider-Man like a dozen times throughout your life?
That's what I was going to say.
I mean, had known who Spider-Man man.
You can't argue with that.
Yeah.
Going back to the web gadgets a little bit, I really didn't utilize them that well. So I didn't know exactly how they replenished. So I just pretty much only used the standard web shot, like almost the entire game. And then like near the very end, I realized like I've got so many of these web gadgets that I could have made combat a lot easier just by cycling through all of them. Because there's like 8 different kinds and they've each got like 3 or 4 like blasts. So you can really like use a lot in one fight, which I didn't utilize that well at all.
Man, I thought brand new games.
I mean, I beat it. Well,
what about like there was also suit power-ups, right?
Yes.
Necessarily gadgets, and the one that I liked the most there, like you hit like both of the thumbsticks in or whatever to use it. That there was one that had like a robot like web shooter, just like almost like a turret or something, and just like he would just destroy everybody.
Yeah, there are a few of them that I liked. The one that was I used the most probably was the shield, where it's just like, oh, you're invincible for 5 to 10 seconds.
I don't know if I used either of those. The one I used the most was the web blossom. That's where you kind of jump up in the air and you spin around and you web everyone around you.
Oh yeah.
Like sometimes, and you got that one pretty early, so that's why I used that one almost exclusively. You could go to like a crime fight and just do that in the middle of all the guys, and it'd be over like immediately.
That's like Muff at a strip club. Just
spinning around,
just spraying everywhere.
And we're not talking about dollar bills either. It's straight powder.
What did you guys? I know we had talked about stealth a little bit. Did you guys like the actual Spider-Man stealth missions? I really like those. Where, like you would have to go into like a factory and like take out all the guys stealthily as Spider-Man.
I didn't like it when they made me do that. When it was like if you get caught and you lose, I did not like that. If it was
like those missions.
If you can take out as many guys as you can, and then once you get caught, you start fighting them, that I did like.
Yeah, I feel like that worked better in Miles Morales because you can go invisible.
Yeah.
But in the you had to do stealth kind of a lot in the original Spider-Man. It wasn't like every mission, but there was like some of those like combat. Whatever they were called, those combat training ones, where you had to do the whole stealth. You had to be stealth the whole time, and if you got caught, you had to start over. I know what
Yeah.
Brian's talking about. That was kind of annoying. Because there would be times like, there's no way in hell that guy saw me, and then he, it would end the mission. You have to start over.
Yeah, but those were all like side missions. That wasn't like main story stuff. So I mean, it was all optional content.
But that whole
Not if you want that platinum.
stealth mode is used in a lot of games to where as soon as you get caught, you're gonna get got. So that ain't original.
No, it's not. It's not original. I mean, it changes it up. I don't really like stealth in most games, though.
I do agree with you, Brian, about or maybe it was Moose. One of you guys said it. I don't give a
You
fuck.
agree with me. That's fine.
You agree with me as well.
Where I like the missions where it was like you can go in stealthy, and then if you get caught, then you can fight your way out. But that's pretty much how I approach most of the story missions, where I try to do it stealthy, and then if I got caught, then I'd beat everybody up. If I didn't, then I'd do it stealthy.
And then one other unique aspect of the combat, so healing. So you can heal pretty much all the time, because if you build up your focus meter, then that allows you to like regenerate a little bit of your health. So it is unique in that you're kind of like keeping track of your health and like healing in the middle of battles and like healing over and over in the middle of battles. The focus bar, as far as I know, in the first game, it was just used for healing, and then you could do like a big move, like a finisher move. But I didn't do those pretty much ever because I always wanted to have the ability to heal. So I don't. Did you guys like use finishers a lot?
Yeah, all the time, man.
Yeah, I used them a lot.
Yeah.
I like never used them. I always wanted to heal.
Those are the coolest, man. It was like slow motion, fucking people up.
Got to build up those combos, man. Then that way you can heal and use finishers.
I never got that 100 combo. No platinum from me.
Oh shit. 100 combo was not easy in that game.
So you didn't use gadgets. You didn't use like anything. You just hit square the whole game.
That's it, man. I just mashed the square button as fast as I could.
Bashed
That's
his
all
way
I
through the
did.
game,
It's like you're playing God Hand all over again.
You really did bull charge that box, man.
Like a Streets of Rage beat 'em up.
And then the enemy types, I mean, there's not anything like super interesting. I mean, there's guys with guns, machine guns, rocket launchers. There's big guys that kind of charge at you. Later on, there's guys that have like whips. There's guys that can fly. I mean, it was okay, but there was no like, I wasn't blown away by any of the enemy types really.
Really?
You liked some? Huh?
I'd agree with that.
I love Kingpin. I whooped that ass real quick.
I mean,
the game.
the bosses the bosses were incredible, but just like the general like thugs, I didn't, or the demon guys, like they were okay.
Yeah, some of them were just kind of annoying because like you had to like disarm them a certain way or whatever. And when it was that the mercenary team, I forgot what they were called. Brian, you played it recently. What was
Sable?
that mercenary? Yeah,
oh, yeah,
Sable.
the Silver Sable group.
When they hit you with the cable and it like wrapped you up and shit, that pissed me off.
Cable or Sable?
Sable was the, but they
Sable,
hit you
yeah.
with like some like, electric cable that would wrap you
Sable
up.
hits you with a cable.
Tie you
Sable
up.
would hit you with the cable. Yep.
Yeah,
Alright.
they had that red electric bullshit that I didn't like too much either.
Yeah. That was annoying, but other than that, I mean, it added some diversity to the enemies, I guess.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it did seem like they progressively got harder as the game went on.
Oh
But
yeah.
variety-wise, it was pretty much the same.
All right. Any other thoughts on the combat before we move into the kind of the main story of the game?
One more thing. What about when somebody shoots a rocket at you and you sling it back? That was pretty cool.
That was cool. That was
Yeah.
probably a skill I wish I would have unlocked sooner, because the rockets are the things that can like catch you off guard
And
the
it
fastest.
messes you up. Like it knocks you down, and I mean, if you get hit by a rocket.
The one thing with the grenades, like when they're throwing grenades, that I thought was really smart is that if there's a grenade and like you pick it up at the last second, like really it should blow up in your hand. Or if you throw it at a guy that's right next to you, like it should damage you as well, but it doesn't. Like they give you extra time to throw it away, or if you've thrown it, even if it's right by you, like it won't damage you, which I thought was fun. It made the game more fun, because that sucks in games where you pick up a grenade and it's up in your hand.
Blows up in your hand.
Yeah.
Spidey senses, man.
All right, so then moving into the main story. I mean, the main story is definitely where I thought the best content was. Like when we talked about Control a few episodes ago,
Oh,
like
fuck.
they hid a lot of that. The best content was extra stuff, where that was really not the case here. Like the best stuff, in my opinion, was definitely like the main story stuff that you went through.
Yeah, agreed. It was a pretty good main story. By the way, spoiler alert for anyone that doesn't
Yes,
realize
we're going
that
to be going into everything.
We're gonna
so,
spoil it.
Yeah, if you don't want to be
Spoil the
spoiled.
shit out of this game.
I beat this game 2 years ago, so most people been had listening to been saying.
Oh, I don't know. You beat him, I thought you like played it and said fuck it and quit.
I beat the Kingpin and nothing else to do.
So the first thing you do in the game is fight Kingpin, so you might not have made it that far. But the intro, you're inside like Fisk Tower, you're fighting to get Kingpin. I believe that's like right out of the gate, so it doesn't open up to the city until you do that first mission. What'd you guys think of that first mission?
It was fucking awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. I didn't expect the way it opened up like that. It was awesome.
Yeah, it felt like it felt like a true Marvel movie where it like starts with a bang and you got this big fight and it's all a gigantic set piece. You know, you're swinging through the city, getting to Kingpin's building, and then you get there and everything just gets blown up and kicking ass left and right. Well, should have continued.
Well, see, I enjoyed the game for what it was, but I'm not gonna grind it out to end up ruining a game.
Yeah, you're right. 15 minutes, that's enough. That's all you need.
You grinded it up that's 14 minutes longer than a VR mission or
Yeah.
VR session.
Oh yeah.
You don't know. Cindy Starfall had me go 4 minutes last night.
All right. So after you take down Kingpin, then you can go anywhere. And like one of the first things they tell you, you meet up with a police officer named Yuri, and she tells you that you need to activate all these different towers across the city. So that's kind of your main objective, to go around to get all the towers, unlock all the places of the map. And then shortly thereafter that, you go to Dr. Octavius's lab. So that's kind of foreshadowing that, he's going to turn into a supervillain at some point. And then they introduce these puzzles that you do pretty consistently throughout the game. Darkseid, you played recently. You want to describe what the circuit and the spectrogram puzzles are?
Yeah, so the circuit puzzle is basically you have to connect two circuits across a board, connect point A to point B. And some of the pieces that you have, are already on the board, and then other ones you have to kind of connect on them. It's kind of like a what is a square board or whatnot? What would you call that?
Like a circuit board, kind of.
Yeah, there you go. That's the circuit board. And basically you're just connecting the pieces to make sure that they fit each other.
Like the electricity or whatever can flow.
Yeah, it can flow from point A to point B.
Yeah, if you guys ever played a game called like Pipe Dream or something, like an old PC game where you got to line up different like shapes of pipes to get like the fluid or whatever to flow through the pipe as long as you can.
Yeah, I
Muff
remember.
knows a lot
Pipe.
about fluid flowing through the
Play
pipe.
that pipe.
I do remember Pipe Dream. Yeah.
It reminded me of that. Yeah, I mean, I thought that mini game was pretty fun. I liked
liked
doing
it.
it. And then how about the
other one-
spectrogram puzzles, Darkseid?
The other one, that one seemed to be a little bit more easy than the circuit one, because it's basically almost like a DNA swab or something like that, and you have to like basically put two pictures on a board to make sure that the lines line up, right?
I
Yeah,
don't
that's-
even
that's
remember
right.
this at all.
You don't remember
these
this?
puzzles?
Muff? Did you play
when you're
this
in the
game?
lab?
You have to put your DNA on the board.
No,
It's
that
just
was a
like-
bad example.
It's like lining up lines. You have to combine like two or three different slides that just have like lines on them.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then
I
you have to
remember
like
now.
It's like
just
a
match the
chemistry type
shapes.
thing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I remember now. DNA.
That was the only example I could think of.
So then after you do that, so you revisit with Dr. Octavius like throughout the game, and he's inventing stuff and having, issues with the mayor and things like that. And then some shit goes on, and I forget exactly how you get introduced to the demons. So you find out there's this gang of demons. They've pretty much replaced Kingpin's thugs, and then you're dealing with them for the majority of the game.
I think that you first see them when you're in like a museum.
And that's one of the
Checking
first Mary Jane missions, right?
I think so, yeah. But
Yes.
you're
Yeah,
following
that's-
up on something that Kingpin owned, right? And he was, something was very valuable in this museum, and you go to that museum as Mary Jane, I think at the time, or I don't
Yeah,
remember
it's
if it's a
Mary Jane.
cutscene or what. Yeah, but and then you have to like sneak around. I think that was the first stealth mission, wasn't it? You have
Yeah,
to
she
sneak
goes
around
to
so like the
she
museum
goes
curator
to do
doesn't
an
see you.
interview of the curator. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she gets called away on a phone call, and so then Mary Jane starts sneaking around and finds the statue
Hmm.
and all these other artifacts
And
that
and and that's all Kingpin's, right? Like it's all his like prized possessions or whatever.
yeah.
And then the demons are going there to steal that stuff.
Yep.
So that's how they get introduced. They didn't have any backstory up to that point, I don't think.
So then after that, if you guys think of any other missions that happen in between this, you feel free to shout them out. But eventually you fight this guy named Shocker. Is he a well-known Spider-Man villain? I never heard of this guy before.
Yeah, he was in
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecomings.
Never saw that one.
What?
He was in wasn't he Jamie Foxx in
Yeah, Jamie
one of the
Foxx, right?
Spider-Man movies?
No.
And then-
No. That
Who
you're
was Jamie
thinking,
Foxx?
you're thinking of
Damon
Uh,
Wayans.
Blank Man?
it's not the
Jamie Foxx in.
it's not the
wasn't-
Shocker. It's somebody else.
Who was
Electro.
he in that one? Oh, Electro.
Oh, Electro, yeah, okay. They're like the same person, I feel like, in terms of their powers.
I
don't
thought
know.
they were the same. I guess I was
Yeah, I
wrong.
guess I don't know much about the Shocker either, Brian.
Yes, you do.
So
Melvin thinks he doesn't know about the Shocker, but he does.
the fight with Shocker was really cool though. Like you're chasing him around the city. I forget exactly. I know you fight him in a bank at some point, and then he reveals some more information about the demons. But he was cool to fight against. I liked fighting against him.
Yeah.
So then, considerably later in the game, I mean, you do some other stuff, but eventually you find out that the leader of the demons. So there's this organization called Feast, and that's where Aunt May works at. And it's like a charity organization, and there's a leader, Martin Lee, and you find out that he's the leader of the demons. And then there's a mission around when you learn that where you're actually protecting Fisk's men. And then you're like chasing a helicopter around the city, and like the helicopter's like smashing into the city, and you're like swinging after it with your web. I thought that was one of the best missions of the game.
Yeah, it's got I can't remember what's hanging from the bottom of it, but it's some big fucking square thing.
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
big yellow square.
Yeah.
Wait, was that one like filled with like enemies or something?
I don't know what was in it.
Was it not a
Yeah.
transport?
I don't
It-
think
it-
there were people in it. Maybe it was money
Okay.
or something. Or maybe it was the devil's breath, who knows.
Oh, it might have been the Devil's Breath.
Yeah, so that's a good thing to bring up. So Devil's Breath is pretty much what the whole game is like hinging on. So it is this like bio weapon that you don't know a whole lot about it, but you know that it can be used to like kill a bunch of people, and that's what the demons have, and you're trying to stop them from doing whatever it is they're going to do with Devil's Breath.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Um,
was like originally created as a cure, right, for some kind of disease.
Yeah,
End up
so that's
not
like the
being,
reveal at the end of the game.
yeah.
Closer to the end of the
Oh,
game,
okay.
yeah, you find out. Yeah.
Spoilers.
There was, I don't know exactly what this mission happened, but there was another mission where you're at like a Halloween party and you're trying to find
that
I
was
think
funny.
some guy related to
scientist guy, yeah.
the scientist, and like people at the party are getting corrupt and things like that. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, you're trying to find the scientist that can make the anti-serum for the devil's breath, I believe. And it's so dumb because he's dressed up as like one of Spider-Man's villains. I think he's like the Lizard or something like that, or Mysterio. So you have to like run around and like find different people in costumes and be like, "Are you him?" And he's like, "No, man, he's over there."
That's right.
No, man, he's over there.
And then at some point after that, that's when you get introduced to Silver Sable. So they're like Sable's another organization that gets brought in. They're kind of like a police force, but they have like ultimate authority pretty much to do whatever they want. And you're trying to fight the demons with them, but they attack you all the time because they don't like you interfering very much. I didn't realize Silver Sable is also a Spider-Man character.
Yep. Yeah, Silver
Yeah,
Sable.
they packed this game with a lot of characters, man.
Yeah, I
And
think
they
that's
did
where
it-
I missed out on stuff because I don't know shit about Spider-Man really.
And they did it in a good way where it didn't feel like it was forced. You know, like some characters they just kind of sprinkled in, and you would learn more about them in the DLC and learn more about them in the next game. I feel like they didn't really force it, and I think they kind of told the story and introduced all these characters in a dope way.
And then one of the
Yeah.
other characters they introduce, so you end up playing aside with a police officer who assists you with a couple missions, and then you find out he's Miles Morales' dad. And then there's this big scene where I think they're at like some event near City Hall with the mayor, and then there's like this big explosion. Does anybody remember who was it? The
Yes.
demons that did that explosion?
Yeah,
the
so
demons.
the cop is being honored, and so the mayor, who is what's his name,
Norman Osborn.
Norman Osborn, he's taking advantage of the situation to like make himself look better by honoring the police officer with like a medal or something like that. And so then the demons show up and they are like, "No way, motherfucker!" And they start tearing shit up.
So that was a pretty cool scene where like after everything blows up, you're playing as Miles, you're trying to find your dad, you're like going through the wreckage and things like that. I thought that was a really good part of the game too.
And they killed his dad, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
dad dies in the explosion.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that part. They did a really good transition to from Spider-Man to Miles in there, because what you're doing is you're playing as Spider-Man, and then the explosion happens, and you basically get knocked out. You're still awake, and it goes to the first-person perspective of you as Spider-Man, and you're getting dragged away. And then you realize that like Miles is lying right next to you. Because you're both injured, even though you're way more injured than Miles is. And then Miles kind of gets up, and you start playing as him from that point on, at least for a little bit.
All right. So then after that is, I believe, quickly after that's kind of the turning point, I would say, of the game, or I think it's Act 3, according to the trophies, is where there's a prison that gets busted into. And then all the prisoners get out, all the supervillains. That's one thing I thought this game was lacking up until this point. There wasn't a lot of cool supervillains, at least that I knew who they were. But once the prison is busted into, then like Rhino and some other guys get busted out, and then the
Scorpion,
cities, yeah.
Scorpion and Electro.
But
I don't
that's
think
like,
we're doing this scene enough justice, man. This prison scene was fucking amazing. Man.
It was so fucking cool.
Get hype, fellas. Get hype.
This is probably my favorite scene of the game. Like, just when Electro first pops out and just starts shooting electricity everywhere, and you don't know what the fuck's going on. And I agree with you, Brian. Like, there was like really no supervillains throughout the beginning of the game, even though the story was very focused. Like Martin Lee, like you're figuring it out, and then you find out he's the villain, and it's all focused on that. But then, like, once that prison break happens, like, shit just goes nuts.
and then not only that, but it's like spread throughout the entire city. Like the entire city for the rest of the game's like a war zone. There's like guys on top of every building shooting at you, and it feels like you're getting attacked like pretty much all the time wherever you go for the rest of the game then at that point.
Yeah, you'd be swinging, and all of a sudden, like, somebody try to snipe you, and it's like, stop trying to snipe me. I'm just trying to go, do the next fucking whatever mission.
Yeah, the
So
way
you
they
fast travel.
introduced those villains, man, it was so cool, man. With just them all being loose, it was just like this feeling like, oh fuck, I'm overwhelmed. Even though I'm Spider-Man, like I'm outnumbered. It's like 6 different villains out here that's gonna fuck up the city. How am I gonna get out of this? It was just, I don't know, the way they introduced them all at once. It was pretty dope, man.
Yeah.
And then I think shortly after that, it transitions to where Mary Jane goes to investigate Oscorp. And then that's where she finds there's like these spiders in this lab. And that kind of introduces Miles Morales' origin story. Is there's this bioengineered spider that she has with her. And then when she meets up with Miles, it gets on him and it bites him. And that's how he gets like his powers that's introduced in the next game. I think there was a mission. I forget where you are, if it's like a train station, but you're playing as Mary Jane, but Spider-Man's like crawling around on the ceiling, and you're telling him like, hey, get this guy, get that guy. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
I remember that one.
Yeah, that was like the only good Mary Jane mission in my opinion.
Yeah, that That was definitely the funnest one.
You know, Moose doesn't like to play as females in video games. So
That's right.
Hey man, I'm playing Nier Automata right now, baby.
So around that time is when you find out then that Devil's Breath was a cure for Mayor Osborn's son. So I think they go into some background about how his wife died, and then apparently the son is also, who you were friends with, Harry, is also sick, and that's why Devil's Breath was created. But I don't think it quite worked, and then they found out it could be used as a bioweapon, and then it got into the demon's hands. So that kind of explains like the origin of Devil's Breath. And then Harry, he's gonna be Green Goblin. Is that
Who's
what
to
they
say?
were?
But yeah.
yeah, in the movies he was Green Goblin.
Got it. And then I think around this time is when you start having all these like really epic boss fights. So there's like this fight where you're fighting Vulture and Electro at the same time, and you're like swinging around, and you've got to dodge like both of their attacks and attack them like one at a time. What did you guys think of those boss fights?
Fucking epic. It was
Oh,
so
yeah.
cool. Anybody else? No?
For me, it was just all right. I mean,
So there you go. Everyone agrees it was epic. Yeah.
No, I agree with you, man. It was amazing, man. It was like these boss fights were some of the highlights of the game. I feel like, just like fighting two bosses at one time, like villains that you've been watching as a kid, the Spider-Man cartoons and movies, fighting them both at the same time. I thought that was a cool way to like, make it a different Spider-Man experience versus, okay, I'm just gonna fight this one boss, like you've seen in all the shows and the movies a million times. I think they had a pretty cool twist on it.
it would have been
having
a
the
lot
two
more
at the same time was really cool.
monotonous to do one at a time. I think, to be honest, having more than one at a time was pretty cool.
And then it's shortly around, well, I think after you fight Vulture and Electro, then you get like stung by Scorpion, and then you're like hallucinating. And as you're like traveling across the city, then there's like these giant scorpion tails that are like blocking your way and attacking you. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
You got to get the like antidote to the poison that he got you with.
Yeah. Really, the last part of the game is like loaded with these big boss fights. Because then I think shortly after that you fight Rhino and Scorpion at the same time, and again it's like Rhino's charging after you, but then Scorpion's like jumping all over the place and attacking you, and you've got to like time how much you can attack one guy while dodging the other attacks from the other guy.
Yeah, that was like in a train yard too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the probably the fight I had the most problems with because I didn't realize that you had to drop shit on Rhino. And so I kept just throwing whatever I could at him and nothing's happening. And meanwhile, Scorpion's shooting his load at me and I'm like, this is fucking, what's going on?
Yeah, that one took me a couple tries, I think, as well.
Who was your favorite villain overall?
Visually, coolest was Electro.
Electro.
I liked fighting Doc Ock.
Yeah,
so-
Doc Ock at the end.
Yeah, so then at the very end, so then you end up after you fight so before you fight Doc Ock, then you fight Martin Lee, and he's like this huge ghost demon, which he looked cool, but that boss fight, I mean, after like the 2-on-1 boss fights that you had just done, I didn't think was that awesome.
Yeah, it looked cool, but it was a lot more straightforward, right? Like it was just, wasn't it just like kill all the enemies and then hit them with something?
Yeah.
Like a boulder or whatever the hell they hit them with.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'd be flying debris or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it was still cool. Yeah. It was a lot trippier in the Shadow
Just real
World.
quick on the bosses. Did you guys fight that side mission boss Tombstone? Well,
Yep.
I know you guys did. Yeah, I thought that was pretty dope too. Like they had a whole like side mission boss that was skippable if you just missed that mission.
Yeah, that was cool because I think you had to do like multiple missions like in that same like mini storyline before you got to fight Tombstone.
Yeah,
so that
you
was,
had to basically shut his system down, right? Or whatever he was doing, like his gang.
yeah.
Right.
And then the last boss you fight, so you fight Doc Octopus. So Dr. Octavius, he ends up you find out his body's like failing, but he finally invents this thing because before he's just working on like prosthetic hands and stuff, but then he's got like these big like tentacles pretty much, and then he's like a super villain and he's leading all the other villains. That was a pretty cool boss fight. So you like that one the best, Moose?
Yeah, I thought it was the coolest. I like Doc Ock a lot as a character. I thought he was pretty cool. Like he He's like a deep scientist, and then he goes crazy because of the implants he puts on himself. And then he organizes the Insidious Six, and you have to take him down.
Yeah, I always liked the relationship between Dr. Octavius and Peter Parker.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
In the comics, in the movie, in this, it's always been done, very well, very respectful.
So then you beat Doc Ock, and then you end up getting the anti-serum, and then they add in kind of a layer of drama where you find out Aunt May's sick with whatever, the Devil's Breath did. And then you find out that the anti-serum, you can give it to Aunt May right now and it'll save her, but they won't have enough to like replicate it for everybody else. Or you can wait and then everybody else can have it. But then Aunt May not survive, and you don't have a choice. It just plays out. And then Aunt May dies at the end of the game because she pretty much sacrificed herself so everybody else could get healed. Which I thought was kind of, they threw that in right at the last minute. Like, oh yeah, she's going to die if you don't give it to
well,
her. But
I don't know if they threw it in at the last minute. The whole end of the game, he's trying to get the anti-serum from Dr. Octavius. So, the whole last couple hours is all about getting that so he can get it to Aunt May. So, that's what you're trying to do. And it's not until the very, very end where they're like, we don't have enough for everybody.
I guess I'll agree with that.
I'm okay with her dying.
Oh, shit.
She's a redhead. Muff doesn't like those gingers.
Now, Marissa Tomei, I'd save her. Fuck everybody else.
You'd save her, then have sex with everybody else?
You heard me.
I did.
All right. Did you guys have any other the main missions that stood out that you liked that we didn't cover?
That was a good breakdown. I think the boss fights were definitely the highlight.
I thought the suit you had to craft to fight Doc Ock was pretty cool. It was that black suit with like the yellow spider on it.
Yeah.
I thought that was a kind of a nice touch, because then when you do that fight, he beats the shit out of you and like the suit's like half destroyed.
Mm.
And then he said something like, everybody knows, like he's always like it's always everybody knew he was Spider-Man kind of thing. Like, oh, I kind of knew you were Spider-Man or whatever based on what you were fiddling around with all the time, or
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things, but it was still, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it looked amazing. Visually, graphics are second to none.
I always like it when like the hero kind of gets, like, he wins, but he gets his ass beat and like his suit's damaged, and you know what I mean? It's like he kind of gave everything kind of thing. So I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
Just like
off
me,
topic,
man. I give all.
off topic, but like I used to like to watch a lot of kung fu movies, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, and whatnot. And in all those movies, for the most part, they would always kick everyone's ass, and they would like rarely get hurt at all. And that always bothered me. So I agree with you, Moose. Like, I want to see the hero at least get beat up a little bit.
That's a classic, like any like Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, he like loses the whole time and then wins at the end, just like every Rocky movie, kind of the same idea, the protagonist is getting his ass beat the whole time and then wins like from some magic adrenaline or whatever that he gets from somewhere.
I know it's kind of off topic. You know who sucks though? Chuck Norris, man. That guy's a fraud.
Oh shit! People like Chuck Norris, man.
I don't know why people like this guy, man.
People like the idea of Chuck Norris. They don't really like Chuck Norris.
Why don't you like Chuck Norris?
I don't know, man. He's just not cool, man. I like watching Jackie Chan, Jet Li, and those guys. And
people say he taught Bruce Lee at a roundhouse, man.
Fucking Chuck Norris.
What's he done since Delta Force? Like Walker, Texas Ranger? Who cares?
That was a big show.
Yeah, but who did you never watched it?
I never did. No. It was big though. Gilmore Girls is apparently a big show. I never watched that bullshit.
Darkseid loves that show.
Gilmore Girls is universally loved. Walker was only loved in Texas.
All right, so we're going to move into some of the side missions. So there's a lot of side missions in Spider-Man, and you do these things so you can unlock like new suits, and you can level up your gadgets and just general like get like level up in the game, which gives you like more like health and gives you more like melee damage and things like that. So the first type of missions that you do all the time, the just general crime fights. So there's like 4 different types that eventually you unlock. There's thugs, demons, and then once the prison breaks out, then there's prisoner fights, sable fights. Probably not a whole lot to go into there, but what did you guys think about those?
I didn't like the fact that prisoners were on the roofs with sniper rifles.
Yeah, it was a
I'm
little
like,
weird,
what the
right?
fuck?
Like,
Where are they getting
how-
all these
how are they
sniper
so-
rifles?
Yeah, they were
Why are
so
they
well
wearing
They were in a
orange
prison.
jumpsuits?
There's gonna be an armory in a prison.
Not that many sniper rifles, man, and not spread throughout the whole city.
It,
Why
And
not?
they should change their clothes. Like they're all gonna wear orange for like a week.
longer than that, right?
How did they get on these roofs?
Took
I'm-
the
I know it's a
emergency
game and
stairs.
it doesn't make any sense, but it's just little things.
No, it like all those missions and all those side like bases and whatnot, they were all like they could have been all the same for all I care. You know what I mean? Like they were kind of cookie cutters. It felt like after a while when you do them all, I mean they all kind of just blend in together. Whether it's a Fisk hideout or whatever, or a Sable like camp or whatever they wanted to call it, like it all kind of felt the same after a while.
For the most part, it's just like go to this place, beat up these people.
Yeah, beat them all up and then
So,
claim it
vid-
and then
Video
move
game
on.
side quests. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if
basically.
you're gonna.
It worked because the combat, and the gameplay was so good.
I don't know if you're gonna talk about this, Brian, but what did you guys think about the car chase ones though? Those are pretty dope.
Those were cool. Yeah, those are pretty. I mean, even those got a little like.
It got repetitive after a while.
Yeah, they did. But the
Yeah.
first couple of times you did it was pretty cool.
It was awesome, yeah, the first couple times, but then after a while, it kind of lost its charm when you're going for that platinum,
Just more filler.
Yeah. It's the open world curse,
Yeah,
Platinums kill games.
platinums kill
Yeah.
games, man.
They do, man.
That's
They
one thing
do.
I did.
You guys love
appreciate.
them for some
is-
damn reason. You guys love
Well,
those platinums.
Love those
Dark
platinums.
side, man. Dark side's the platinum hype guy,
One thing I did appreciate about all the side missions is that they were on the map.
Yeah.
You didn't have to like search for the side missions. You knew where they were. You knew where to go to get them.
Yeah.
That was something I was going to bring up a bit later, but to me, it felt like I was just chasing icons around the map
Yeah.
sometimes. Like with Zelda, it was a bit more organic in that there weren't icons littered all over, but there was like things on the map where I was like, I bet there's something cool there just because of the way like the topography looked, or because there was a certain like, you could tell that there was like an old like village there or something like that. Where here it felt like, yeah, there's like, okay, there's an icon there. I guess I'll go to this icon now.
It always
But-
goes back to Zelda,
Yeah.
huh?
It does, man. It's the best.
That's his best experience with the open world, so he's gonna reference that.
The idea is Spider-Man knows where the fuck he lives, so he knows the city. So if you had to go searching for something, it'd be like, okay, you don't know where the fuck you
No,
are.
but-
That's not Spider-Man. Spider-Man
No,
knows
in-
where the fuck he is. So you
In
go to the
Brian's
icon
defense,
and
though, it's like, okay, you fought these guys, and then it's like, well, now they got bases all over the city, and you know exactly where all the bases are, and they show up on your map, and you can fast travel. If you fast travel, you can fast travel to like the nearest, police station or whatever, and get to the base, and then clear that base, and then clear whatever other sections are in that little district.
so
And then you-
in the story dialogue before that happens, it doesn't say, "Oh, hey, their bases are spread out. Look at this area."
It does.
No, it
It
does.
does, but I mean, it's
Well-
kind of generic at the same time when it's like that for every group you're fighting. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's just like a quick dialogue, like, oh, here are all the bases, and then it shows them pop up all over the map. I know what
And-
Brian's saying.
And like
I-
another
I-
thing, go ahead, Muff.
I respect where you're coming from because I like that in my RPGs, what you're referring to, Brian. I just think in this concept, when your character is supposed to know the city, they're gonna have a good idea of where to look, anyways. He's a fucking crime fighter.
Yeah, but he's
I
not
guess I can see
Batman, dude. Batman's the greatest detective, Right, Brian?
The
The
world's greatest.
damn prison thing sounded like Arkham when everyone got loose, so it kind of sounded like the same thing.
Yeah, Batman stole that from Spider-Man.
Spider-Man stole the fighting from Batman.
So like another example of just kind of chasing around icons. So there's backpacks that are littered all throughout the city. And I mean, they were kind of fun to get, but at first I thought you had to find them with the beeping. So like there was an icon and then you went there and then I was like, oh, I got to find it with beeping. But then I realized you just click in the thumbstick and it highlights exactly where the backpack is. So then it was like, this is just kind of like really busy work, where I compare the backpacks to the Korok seeds in Zelda, where in Zelda you're not expected to get them all, but there's like a ton of them littered around the map and you have no idea where they are, but you get a good sense of where you think the game creator would hide them. And just based on that, you can find a ton of them.
And a lot of times the Korok seeds had like puzzles tied to them or something. Like they weren't like complex puzzles, but there was some little puzzle.
Yeah.
A lot of time to get it. But yeah, these were just like, get to this area and hold Y or whatever the button was. But it was still, it was interesting.
In Breath of the Wild, if you get all the Korok seeds, or Turok seeds, or whatever they're called,
Turok
don't you get Don't you get a golden shit?
You do.
Yeah,
you do.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds good.
No platinum trophy either. For Zelda,
no platinum, just golden shit.
Yep. So getting into some of the other missions then, so Taskmaster challenges. So this guy pops up, I don't know, about halfway through the game, and he starts giving you these extra challenges, like there's bombs throughout the city that you've got to defuse or whatever, or he wants you to fight a bunch of guys at once, I think within a certain time limit. And then eventually, after you do all of his missions, you do get to fight him, which I fought him once and I did not beat him. So I guess in general, what did you guys think of the Taskmaster challenges and the fight with Taskmaster?
They were fun. It was a little bit of variety, rather than just beat people up. Now it's like, find bombs or try to be stealthy or try to beat the certain time period or, whatever it was.
Yeah, and he kept saying that he was like learning your combat so he could, figure out a way to beat you or whatever. That was like his whole MO. I don't remember who the hell hired him. You find out, right? Somebody hired him to like kick your ass.
I don't remember that.
Oh, I remember it. I don't remember the detail on it though, but I remember that it was a thing.
But yeah, I just thought it was, it was another, side mission that, or set of side missions that, led to a boss fight that you didn't really have to do, but you could do.
So there was a few other types of missions, and then there was like more main side missions that, like Melvin, you were talking about with Tombstone, that had a little more substance. I guess, were there any side missions or any of the extra things that stood out to you guys?
One that I thought was a little ridiculous, and I'm maybe thinking of Miles Morales, but maybe it's this one where you had to chase dude's birds.
That was the first game, the pigeons.
Yeah,
That was the first game. I didn't like that. I
was like, come on, man.
That was annoying.
Making me chase down your fucking birds.
Pigeon fucker.
I did actually like the ones where you had to take the pictures, though, like of the famous landmarks.
Yeah, I like that too.
All right. Any other missions that you guys did? There was other missions too where you're shown a picture and then you have to go find where, like on the map, that is, and it's not an icon that you're following. It's a little more vague on where you have to go. I thought those were pretty neat.
I didn't like the ones where you had to like set up Harry's research centers.
No,
I don't know if you guys remember those.
Yeah,
it just didn't like. It seemed kind of like Harry knew you were Spider-Man or something. Like, how the hell would you think anybody would be able to do this if you weren't Spider-Man?
Oh, Harry knows you're Spider-Man.
At that time, I don't think he knew that.
Oh, he knew.
Yeah, most of those didn't really stand out. There was one I thought was cool where it's like, I think there's cell phone towers, so you couldn't go too high or too low. You had to stay in between, and there was like some kind of blue energy, and if you went too high or too low, you'd get zapped or something. That was pretty cool.
Did you guys do the what's the black cat? Those like you had to find those. That was the pictures you had to take, right, find the cat in the picture.
That was a different one
that wasn't
than what I was talking about. Yeah, that was a series of side missions though, where you went to, you found the icon, and then when you were looking around, you just had to take a picture, like, yeah, little black cat, which I realized
And then-
on like the second one, the controller gave you a little rumble when you were close, which made it
Yeah.
way easier.
Yeah. So did you do like the, I don't know if it was a step after that, but like the old cop that was like, hey, can you help me find the black cat's father's like where he hid all his artwork that he stole? Did you do that, Brian?
Was that DLC?
That was DLC.
No,
Yeah, that was
that was
DLC.
part of the main game, I thought. Was it not?
Oh, that was the first DLC. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, that was DLC, but either way, it ended up being like an old cop that's like, he's like, I'm gonna retire. I've been, fucking with this guy for so long. I just want some closure. Turns out at the end of it, when you do all the fucking busy work, he's the original Black Cat. So he's the Black Cat's dad. Spoilers if you didn't play the DLC, Brian.
Muff would like
That's
the
all
Black Cat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you just play that DLC all day long.
Go on.
Did you guys? What was there anything noteworthy about the? Because there was 3 DLC packs overall, right?
Yeah.
Was there anything
no new
noteworthy about the other
no new
ones?
gameplay mechanics? It's just more time in the same world. Mostly doing some of the same stuff you did in the main game. So there weren't like any new crazy things
Yeah, and
introduced, but just spending more time in the world really. Just new story missions.
The main villain was, who was it? Hammerhead.
Hammerhead, yeah.
Yeah, he was not worth 3 DLCs in my opinion. But he wasn't terrible. It's just like his character is just kind of like generic,
Yeah, he's basically a mob.
He's a
mob
mobster.
thug.
Yeah, a mobster with a hard ass head, that could just bash people with his head.
And
But,
Spider-Man ended up he banged the Black Cat, and I guess back in the day, and she was like hanging over his head all DLC that I have a son and it might be yours.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so she
Yeah.
guilts you into doing a bunch of shit.
Yeah. She
Heck,
wants
uh,
more
So
of
he
that
had
spider
to
dick.
he had to have some awkward conversations with Mary Jane, and it was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
It's amazing how much real life gets put in video games.
Yeah, I was surprised too. Melvin, you had mentioned that Spider-Man could have counted for Love Month. They wait for that kiss between Spider-Man and Mary Jane to the last second of the game. I kept waiting, like, when are they gonna kiss now? When are they gonna make up now? It was right at
But
the
they
end.
like
Just
there was
like
always,
Mario, man.
there was always
Yeah,
some
such
tension there,
bullshit.
right? Like it was always like, you didn't know why they broke up, and he wanted to talk
Yeah.
about it and whatever. So like there was kind of a romance that was trying to get repaired throughout the game. It seemed
Yeah.
like.
So
I
which
guess while we're
one?
talking about it, though, what do you guys think about the whole relationship between Spidey and Mary Jane? I thought it was well told. I like it. It was a different spin on it. It just wasn't like a helpless Mary Jane. Oh, Spider-Man needs to go save her from the bad guys. I thought the way they like unfolded their romance story, and it kind of felt like a real life awkward like young adult love story in a way.
The Spider-Man game felt a lot like it was a movie, right? So like it had like all the elements of a movie in a video game, which was kind of nice because like the Spider-Man movies, except for the third one, like they've all been pretty good, and this just felt like another one in like the portfolio kind of.
Yeah, I'd say the main story quest,
Mhm.
writing wise and acting wise, it was pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Once you start getting into all the side missions and all the extra stuff, that's video game territory. So it's
Yeah, it
most of it's
watered
good,
it
but
down.
it's hit and miss. But the main
Yeah.
story is stellar.
I feel like the story in this was better than all those shitty Tobey Maguire movies.
The first, so I really like back in the day, I thought the first 2 Spider-Man movies with Tobey Maguire were really good. The third one just fucked up everything. Like it made me not want to watch any of the other ones. Ever
Yeah,
again.
too many villains in that one.
Yeah, and he became emo Spider-Man.
Mm.
All right, you guys have any other closing thoughts on the original Spider-Man before we get into Miles Morales?
Let me just ask you guys. Oh, go ahead. Let me ask you guys a question. Is this the best superhero game of all time?
I haven't played that many, so yeah, I guess. I liked it.
You're like, yeah, I guess.
You've only played 2, so.
The
Yeah,
Arkham
by
games,
default.
man. The Arkham games are good, Melvin.
You haven't played them yet. I have to check those out.
I really
Yeah,
liked Arkham
definitely.
Asylum. That was the first like new age video game new age superhero game I played, and I thought that one was awesome.
I did like Batman Returns for the Super Nintendo, but this Spider-Man gets the edge.
You play Superman 64? Anybody?
Oh,
Supposed to be pretty good, right?
Yeah, for about 5 minutes. Then I punched my pud.
Did you guys know that you could find Daily Bugle newspapers from the vending machines?
Yes.
I didn't
You
find that
don't
until
have
like
to
halfway
get-
through the game.
You don't have to get any of them for a platinum.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just run across and you can check them out. There's like 50 of them, I think.
Yeah, which I imagine there's probably more than 50 of those newspaper boxes all over the place. So I assume that it's kind of open-ended on how you would get those, I would guess.
Yeah, you can go back to the same one and get a different one.
One last final thought. You know why this game is better than Breath of the Wild?
Please enlighten me. Do you
Just,
really think that?
Well, I would say I like traversing in this game better than Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is too quiet. It's like nothing.
Yeah, there's no music in the game.
Yeah, like Spider-Man, like when you're traversing, it has music, and then you have like you can listen to like the radio guys podcast while you're swinging around. It's just like there's always something going on to further develop the story. Breath of the Wild, you're just running around naked, quiet. I mean, it was a good game, one of the best games I've played, but I would rather spend time in this world, I think, than Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, Spider-Man's like a top 5 game. Breath of the Wild's maybe in the top 20 or 30 or something like that.
Have you played Breath of the Wild, Darkseid?
Top 20, 30 is a bit much.
It's sitting over there.
Man, you'd give it top 20 without even having played it? That's
That's
great,
pretty-
man.
Based
Pretty
off
impressive.
what you guys say, I'm just assuming.
Top 20, 30,000.
I
Yeah,
will
must-
say Spider-Man is good because he reminded me of Gex. You remember that game with the talking lizard?
Yes.
Spider-Man reminded me of Gex. He's always cracking one-liners and stuff.
That's classic Spider-Man, though. He's got to have those quips, you know?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. All right, so I think we're going to shift over to Miles Morales. So please stay with us.
Remember, Miles, you're Spider-Man. They really think they can get us. They checking the drip when I flip up the building.
And we're back, and we're going to jump into Miles Morales, which came out as a launch game for the PlayStation 5. So this was November of 2020 when this came out. So just start off, differences between this game and the original game. There's a lot of similarities. You're playing in the same city, but this time the city's covered in snow. So I thought that was it was a clever way of making it feel like a new environment, even though it was the same environment you've already played through.
Yeah, it's Christmas time.
And Miles is in Harlem, man. The hood.
So then,
And it's Christmas time too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what I just said,
Yeah.
damn it.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's just too busy looking at your pussy.
Cat.
So it's snow in the city, Christmas time. So one of the biggest changes there is you have Venom powers, which is like pretty much like electricity powers, and I guess that's based on the spider that bit Miles. So you get a bunch of different moves that use that ability. So there's like a Venom punch, which is like a big like electric punch, and then there's like a Venom jump and a Venom dash, and then there's also near the end of the game you get this thing that takes up all your focus, but it like you do this supercharged like Venom blast and you heal completely. You pretty much like decimate all the guys around you. What did you guys think of those new abilities?
I thought they were really cool, but what do you think about the name Venom? Like, they use the name Venom, and it's kind of weird because there's a character named Venom in the Spider-Man universe who's
And
not
had
been
noth-
introduced yet.
It had nothing to do with Venom?
Nothing to do with him.
Dumb.
Yeah, it's kind of weird they chose Venom, but I didn't know what else they would choose that would make sense.
Syphilis? Anything better than that.
No, I don't think that
The
would.
power
punch.
of syphilis.
But so the moves were really cool.
Hi, I'm Miles. I have syphilis.
The abilities that you had to it seemed like there was electric generators everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little bit much because you got electricity that you can kind of flow or handle in your body or whatever, but that seemed like they kind of overdid it a little bit based on the Venom side of things.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I
they
thought
may have
new-
overdone it a little bit, but that was one
Yeah.
of the cool things about him, that he could touch generators and get them
Yeah.
going again, or absorb their energy, and
Yeah.
so that it wouldn't like destroy shit.
But I mean, the only
Also-
exposure I have to Miles Morales is that Into the Spider-Verse movie, and I don't remember that being a part of it. Was it a part of it? I only watched
I don't
that movie
remember that either.
Like,
yeah,
is
and
this-
I really like the Venom moves. I feel like it made it a lot different than the first game because I didn't want it to feel like just an extension like DLC. It didn't really feel like a DLC add-on. It felt like a new game almost because
Yeah.
of these new abilities. But the only thing I didn't like about it though, because I don't really have a lot of background on Miles Morales either, and they didn't really like set it up like where did he get these? Why did he have these new abilities? Why was he able to turn invisible? You would be playing the game and he would just go invisible. Like, what? Holy fuck! How did I just get that new ability?
Yeah, that's what
They didn't set it up
happened
or
in
explain it at all.
Into the Spider-Verse too. Like he got scared, like 'cause that's what happened. Like they pointed the guns at his face, and he's about to shit himself, and he turns invisible.
Every time he
Right.
shits, he turns invisible.
Basically, yes. Like whenever he was really scared, that was how he channeled the power, and that's what happened in that little cartoon movie too.
Yeah, I just wish they would have explained it more. Like, why did he get
think
these
it was-
abilities? Why
it
was
was-
it different?
It was because of the genetically engineered Spider-Man. They
Yeah.
just did it differently.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't even think about the camouflage where that came from, which I guess can also be attributed to that different
Yeah,
spider.
if you ever
but-
saw the spider, like I don't remember if it was probably in the first game, but
Yeah.
at one point the spider went invisible on Mary Jane or whoever.
Oh.
he
Oh,
was fighting. He went
okay. I didn't pick
invisible.
up on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
neither did I.
Gotta have a keen eye for that shit, you know.
Good shit, move.
And I mean, and for the most part, Peter Parker's gone. He's on vacation or whatever with,
Yeah, he's like
with
in
Mary
Europe or
Jane.
something.
Yeah, which I
Yeah.
thought was kind
Convenient?
yeah, it was kind of a weak story method to get Spider-Man out of there, but I mean, I guess it worked.
They
Yeah,
had to
man.
get him out of there, otherwise
You gotta
he
get
would
him out of there.
have been there all the time. But what was funny is he got his ass beat by Rhino, right? Like, because Rhino had the new suit.
Yeah.
Like, how would he have handled that if Miles Morales didn't exist? He would have just gotten killed right there, or what?
Yeah, I guess. That was, I mean, that fight was really cool though. That's why I was kind of disappointed when Spider-Man was just like, "All right, I'm going on vacation."
Yeah, all right,
that
man,
first
I'm outta
fight
here.
where you're both like you're controlling Miles, but you're fighting alongside Peter Parker. Like I thought that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, they could have done
Yeah.
that more, right? Like interacted both of them, like one way or another. Maybe have you switch between them for different missions or something. That would have been.
That'll be the third game. This
Maybe.
one had to be. This one was Miles' show.
That's true. I mean, yeah, I
Yeah, they
understand
had
they
to do
wanted it to be like his game.
Yeah, which is, I mean, it was a great game, so that was a good decision to get Spider-Man out of there.
Oh shit! What if they do like online co-op with Miles and Peter in the next
shit,
one?
man. 6 to midnight.
Damn right.
Fucking black cats all the time.
You know, I feel like you think in the next game they're gonna introduce like a female lead, like there's a spider chick, I don't know what her name is. Like,
Is that Gwen Stacy?
there's a Gwen Stacy one, and there's also like a Spider Woman, I think.
Spider Pig.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I was gonna say.
Spider
They're
Pig,
gonna
Spider
yeah.
Pig.
And Spider Boy.
You get the cat, you know, everything's
Yeah.
working out,
Oh my
working
God,
out
that
well
was
for
great.
you.
That cat suit was awesome.
I used him a lot when I did the second playthrough,
I only used him.
and in the cutscenes they wouldn't have the cat in there.
I know it
Like,
bothered me. I was like, but where's the
Because
fucking
they're like,
cat?
we don't want to have animal cruelty, I guess, but like they didn't have the cat in the backpack. Like you just didn't have the backpack on.
So that's what you get at like at the very end of the game, right? You get that suit that then has the cat
Yeah.
in the backpack, and the cat's
Yeah,
name
there's-
is Spider-Man.
There's
Yeah.
a mission after you beat the game where you get to get the cat suit or the cat backpack suit.
Yeah, that's pretty funny though.
So general differences between so I'm the Venom powers that we mentioned. So that is used as a trade-off between you can either use the Venom powers or you can heal, which I thought that was pretty cool to like it made me think more about what I wanted to do at a given time. Because in the first game, because I didn't use those finishers, I would just heal with the focus. I would not use it for anything else. So I thought that was a good balance between like, do I want to do Venom attack? Do I want to heal?
True.
Yeah, and
I agree.
I feel like you needed to use Venom attacks more than you needed to use gadgets in the first game. Or
Yeah, it seemed like they
finishers,
were-
I mean.
There
Like,
were
it was-
some enemies where, yeah, like they had like big shields or something where you
Yeah,
really had to.
and you
use
had to
it.
stun them with the Venom, otherwise you wouldn't be able to hit them.
Speaking
And
of gadgets, I really like that they had like those gadgets where you would get those hologram guys to fight beside you.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that one.
yeah, yeah, he
And
definitely
then
had some cool gadgets. And I mean, overall, Miles felt a little bit weaker than Peter Parker did in the first game, which makes sense. So it's good that they had all these Venom and good gadgets.
even the way that he swings kind of like erratically, like he's not quite used to what he's doing
yes.
yet, which
He's
I
not
thought was
confident
Right.
in his flow.
Yeah,
That was a
that
nice
was cool.
touch.
I noticed that right away when playing.
Yeah. What
And
do you
then-
think of his friend? His
Oh,
friend was like
Genki?
Genki.
Genki,
Yeah.
yeah.
I actually
I
like
thought that was pretty fun. Yeah.
Setting
Is
up
that the
social
same
media
guy that's
shit.
in all the movies too?
No,
Like the new
well,
Tom Holland movies? Isn't
I
his friend
think-
named Genki?
Oh,
Is his
what's
friend named
friend's
Genki?
name?
No.
Oh.
I don't know.
Ain't no Genki.
What's his name, Mom?
Todd.
That doesn't
His
sound
name
right.
ain't no fucking Todd.
But it was
I
it's
forget
Ned.
it, but sure ain't been no Genki.
he
His
was a
name is
nice he was a nice
Ned.
sidekick. He made the app and he made like a bunch of like he helped make enhancements for your suit and shit. So
Yeah, he like manages
Yeah.
your social media. He is
Yeah.
Muff.
Guy in the
Genki
chair.
is
Yeah.
Muff.
yeah, I thought he was a cool character.
He's Spider-Man's influencer.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you get suit power-ups in this one, but I believe they're all passive now. Like there's no like special like clicking in of the sticks to use powers like for each suit, right?
Correct.
So that was something, I
Yeah,
guess.
Yeah,
Um,
that was something to mention, you know.
I'll edit that out. That wasn't very good.
No, you better leave that bitch shit up in there.
That was something.
Anyway,
I
so
keep
moving
looking at
into the
wrong
main
picture, Mo.
the main story then. So we talked about the opening fight. Again, I thought they did a really good job getting you in the action like right from the get-go, which was like Rhino running through a mall. You're like on his back and crashing into stuff was really cool.
What about the part? So that was probably early in the game where he, they're transporting. I think they're transporting Rhino through by via helicopter or something, right? And then the rope breaks, and then Miles is like, "I got this," and he goes and tries to patch it up or whatever, and he like ends up making the helicopter crash.
Oh yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
So then Spider-Man leaves, and then you find out that there's this company called Roxxon, where it's headed by this guy named Krieger, and they've created an energy source called New Form, and that's
Yeah.
pretty much like the entire crux of this game. Then there's another group called the Underground, and they're fighting against Roxxon, and then I forget the details of exactly what happens, but eventually there's this big fight at a bridge, and that's like one of the next big like sequences of the game that was really cool.
Yeah, when I did that, I texted Darkseid. The bridge scene was epic, and Darkseid loved it.
I
And
did
then
love it.
we Skyped and took off our clothes and talked about the bridge.
So it's the typical, Saturday night.
Yeah.
No, that was a pretty epic scene.
Between
I
both
remember-
games, that was the coolest scene in my opinion.
It was pretty damn cool. I remember when Sony showed a demo of that part, and they didn't show any of the cutscenes. They just showed just a little bit of the gameplay, like maybe a couple minutes. And I was like, I don't know, this looks okay. It didn't really blow me away. But then, like, actually playing it with all the cutscenes and, like, the whole sequence is probably like a half an hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah, it was pretty
Yeah.
long.
And it was just out of this world epic.
Yeah, I didn't have any preview to that or anything, so that caught me way off guard. Like I had no idea. I didn't see it coming or anything. It was awesome.
And then I believe it's during that sequence, or at least shortly thereafter, that you find out a member of the Underground. I don't know if she's the leader, but she's definitely like a high up member. Is called the Tinkerer, and that's your best friend Finn. So
That rotten bitch. That
That's how
rotten
they-
bitch.
that's how they introduce that she is kind of the main
she was like
villain.
she was like working with them, but not really fully integrated with them at the same time. Like she was kind of like an outsider that was supplying them with the equipment, so they were listening to her, but like they secretly hated her. It was kind of a weird relationship
Yeah.
because they wanted to kick her ass, but they're like, no, we need her, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think you get hurt on the bridge. I made a note. There's this like montage sequence where Miles and Genki are like testing out new gadgets and like new logos, and that was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. Part where the chick Finn, she was at their house or at their apartment, and the power goes out, and you have to go out without your suit and like recharge the generator, which is every mission apparently is charging or or siphoning a generator. But you had to charge the generator. You're climbing on the building, and you like got to go around the windows and stuff, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
You would make some good money as an electrician, huh?
So then at some point after that, it's revealed that new form makes people sick. And they were still going to go ahead. The company Roxxon was going to go ahead with using it anyway because it was probably going to make him a bunch of money. And then Finn's brother was in charge of the team that created new form. He died, and that's why Finn, or the Tinkerer, has like such a vendetta against Roxxon. And then your Uncle Aaron is also a superhero, which I thought that was kind of odd. He was like this old superhero called the Prowler or something.
Yeah, the Prowler.
So he was in the Into the Spider-Verse movie.
I did vaguely remember that.
Your uncle was, or his uncle, Miles' uncle was, what's his name, the Prowler. And, that gets revealed in the movie too. So I knew that was a thing when I was playing the game.
Yeah. Then at some point you infiltrate the underground. Finn does not know that you are Spider-Man. So then you very easily get to join the underground. It seems like you just jump from a crane or something. They're like, okay, you can join our top secret organization now. And then I don't know if you get revealed to her at some point, but at some point you're chasing her around the city, and she's like throwing all these purple explosions at you.
At that point, she's like beating the shit out of you, and she's about to kill you. And then you take off your mask.
Yeah.
That's when you're really injured.
She's like, give me one reason why I shouldn't kill you, and she's like, because my mom will be upset with you.
Yeah. And then he takes off the mask, and that's when he has like a couple broken ribs or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's injured. But one thing that was kind of funny, speaking of their relationship and like their friends or whatever, but you didn't like the backpack collecting in the first game. In this game, you collected like what were they? Oh shit.
They were like underground caches were.
Yeah, no.
But then also like time capsules.
Yeah, time capsules.
Time capsules, yeah.
Where they put them and not being able to like cling onto walls and shit. How the fuck did they put them half the places they put them?
Hanging under bridges and like in fucking on top of
and
buildings
it's like,
and shit.
Here's our second grade like science award or something random, some random ass thing that didn't make any sense for context. I was like, what the fuck? Did you get those, Brian? Or did you?
I got all those. Yeah. There wasn't as many. I think there was like 16
many.
time capsules where there was like 55 backpacks.
Yeah, there wasn't as many, but it was at least the backpacks made sense. He's Spider-Man. He's putting them in weird places and webbing them. You know what I mean? Like these time capsules were just like everywhere.
Those are definitely a little bit of filler.
Yeah. For sure.
The underground caches I thought they were similar, but I thought those were okay because it was more of like they're in this general area, and there was a little searching for them where it wasn't just like go to the glowing pillar.
There were some minor puzzles to like get a couple of them, like like open up a garage door, and then some of them were ambushes. After a while they were like we knew you'd come for this, and then you just kick their ass and move on. But it was still cool. That was a little bit more involved.
And then at some point you're dealing with Finn and talking to her about the danger of blowing up the plaza or something, and then you fight Rhino, and he's got like Roxxon armor on, so he's like more powerful than he was before, and you're fighting him with Finn. So that was a pretty cool boss fight.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. I agree. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then at the end of that fight, Finn is going to kill him, and then you stop her from killing Rhino, and then she gets pissed off at you, and she pretty much wants nothing to do with you at that point. And then you find out she's going to blow up the plaza, but it's going to end up destroying all of Harlem. So then that kind of leads to like the climax of the game in where you're trying to stop her. and that's where you're kind of going across the city, and there's like this big blizzard, and you're fighting. It's like everybody's fighting all over the place.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
knocks-
Yeah.
That was an awesome sequence.
The whole fucking city's going crazy.
Yeah, it's like a war zone.
So then after that, you fight Finn. It was an okay fight. I mean, nothing really compared to those boss fights from the first game where you're fighting 2-on-1 with those supervillains. I mean, it was fun, but it didn't like stand out that much.
Now it was
Alright.
pretty standard as far as a boss fight would go, I would think.
Well, I mean, the actual boss fight itself wasn't anything crazy special, but I think that, story wise, these two characters, you get to see them in flashbacks, you know that they've been old friends. So on an emotional level, it had more, it stuck more with me than I think any of the boss fights other than Doc Ock in the first game.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. So then you beat Finn, and then you absorb all the energy from whatever was going to blow up in the plaza, and you can like barely contain it. And then she flies you into space, and then you blow up. I assume that Finn is dead.
Oh, she got vaporized for sure,
yeah,
man.
Yeah. And then you fall back down, and then that's pretty much the end of the game. So I mean, it was a good ending. I mean, it was sad. It was similar to where like Aunt May dies at the end of the first game. They're like, oh, we got to kill somebody off to make this sentimental.
Well, I think like Finn's character, she's either gonna go like full evil, because I mean, there's really no turning back for what she was doing. She's gonna be in prison forever, or she's gonna get killed. So something had to happen to kind of like, I don't know. She almost like, I don't want to say she sacrificed herself because she caused the problem, but she kind of sacrificed herself to kind of redeem herself that little bit at the end.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of a little bit of a redemption story for her at the same time as killing off a character that meant somebody to Spider-Man.
Yeah, she's Darth Vader. She got died.
She's Miles' dad.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Star Wars.
Got to get that death redemption at the end,
Red Dead Redemption, baby.
That's right.
So then at the very end of the game, there's post-credit scene where the mayor is yelling at somebody to get his son out of the tank. And then, so I assume that's going to introduce him as the next villain for the next game that they're going to do. Which I imagine they'll do another one.
Yeah,
They probably will.
Osborn's supposed to be, the Green Goblin, and then Harry's supposed to be a Goblin. I don't remember what, but maybe another version of the Green Goblin.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll just do
Osborn's
another
Green
one.
Goblin?
Yeah.
Osborn was Green Goblin first,
Oh, I didn't know that.
and then
Yeah.
his son like took it over after the mask, or like it's almost like the mask is like a possessed or some shit, and it like talks to him to put it on. Or at least that's how it's been.
So the side missions in general, there's kind of two different main types of like the bigger side missions. There's the app activities that are a little smaller, and then there's the main side missions. Did you guys have any that stood out that you thought were particularly interesting?
One, I mean, just about the app, I just really like the idea of that.
Yeah, it was a lot more streamlined.
Yeah, Genki and setting up the the app, so like social media can like say, hey, there's a crime going on here, and so you just check the app and go over there and take care of it.
Yeah, I like that. I agree with Darkseid 100% there. I really like the app and just how it's streamlined, doing some of the side missions.
I liked how they seemed to simplify some of the currency. In the first game, I felt like you were collecting 5 different types of tokens to unlock, whatever. And like if you spend the tokens on this and you can't buy that, and then you're screwed, and you have to do so many more missions that you already beat to get more tokens. You know what I mean? Like you had to unlock everything. And in in Miles Morales, I felt like there was only like one or two types of tokens, and it was easier to unlock shit that you actually wanted to unlock without
Yeah.
being worried that you were picking something over something else.
Yeah, they rolled them into just activity tokens rather than like crime tokens and backpack tokens and challenge tokens.
Yeah, it was too many random.
Simplifying it made it
like
a
video
little better.
games with the shitload of currencies are never a good thing.
Agreed.
It's annoying because you got to manage a bunch of different shit.
Yeah.
I thought that the bases, so there was bases in the first game where it's pretty much like the crimes, but you're fighting waves of enemies. Where this one, there wasn't so many waves of enemies as, or at least not distinct where it would actually say on the screen like wave 1, wave 2.
Yeah.
But it was just like a shit ton of enemies. So if you didn't take them out, a lot of them with stealth, like especially the underground where they're like flying all over the place, you could get swarmed like really quickly, which was pretty fun.
But you could always go, like, if they were like beating your ass, you just go invisible and you run and hide.
Yeah.
Reset it. I did that a few times.
Yeah, it was always a way to get out of
it was
bad
also
situation.
easier. It was easier to get like finish a base without getting detected in Miles Morales because you could just go invisible and like make sure you were invisible before you did anything. So that was a trophy that was easier. It seemed easier than in the original Spider-Man.
And then there's some of the missions that it's like spider training. So
Yeah.
Spider-Man Peter Parker set up these missions for you to do, and they unlock abilities. So like you have the same skill tree from the first game, but then you also have these missions that unlock abilities, and the only way to unlock them is by doing these missions. There were a couple that just took me forever to do. There was one where it was combat where you could only take 3 hits, and that took me a long time to do.
That was like I got really friendly with that dodge button. I was constantly dodging, even if I didn't feel like I needed to. Yeah, that was I thought it would be a no problem thing, but yeah, it was tough.
Because a lot of them were pretty easy. A lot of them were just like do this thing in a certain amount of time, but there's no fail state. Like it's just you only get 1 token or whatever instead of 3. If you take too long. But that one, it was like, if you take more than 3 hits, you lose. So you got to do it over again.
I think those stealth ones were the toughest ones, man. Because sometimes people would see you and you don't even know why. It's like, what the fuck just happened?
The second one took me, it was like 50 try. I mean, it took me forever to do the second one. Because I wasn't utilizing camo that well as I should have. And then like I didn't realize I could spider wrap guys at certain points. I was doing the takedown to where I'd fly down and kick them, but then they would like other guys would see.
What about the parts where you had to take pictures of people's face? That took me so long to do.
Oh really?
Yeah, because you had to go camo and stand right in front of him and take a picture. And it's like if you weren't at the exact right angle, like he would like turn, like the enemy would turn or something, and you get like the side of his head, and that's not a good picture. I got to get a better one. I was like, God damn it! That happened so many times that until I realized they have to be like right in the middle.
Yeah, I didn't utilize camo as much as I should have in the beginning hours of the game.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. And then I realized
I got that. I was like, I was hugging that.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think I just kind of forgot that I had it, and then I realized I was like, oh shit, I could make this a lot easier on myself.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat, Dark Side. I guess I probably feel like coming off of the first game, we didn't really use the camo. We didn't have that option to. So just going into the second game, we really didn't consider that as a main mechanic that we should be utilizing.
Oh man, I used it as a crutch, man. That was my go-to.
Near the end, I did. I definitely used it more near the end. But yeah, in the first half of the game, it was like I didn't even think about it really. Another type of missions were sound sample missions. So your Uncle Aaron has you go around the city and collect sounds. I thought those were, at first I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
But once I knew what they wanted me to do, I thought those were really fun.
The first, that reminds me, the first time, I think you had to get like the thing in the water, that took me forever to find. I was like, where the fuck is this thing? Like, I know what it was. I couldn't find it.
I thought it was a boat.
Crazy.
I was looking at the buoy, and it wasn't.
I thought it was a buoy the whole time
for some reason. Yeah, I thought it was a boat, so I was like, I gotta wait for the boat to come by.
I thought it was the buoy, but then I couldn't find the buoy, and that's what was pissing me off. Because anytime I went in that direction, it was like, nope, can't go here. I was like, what the fuck? But then I realized you have to stand in the green square and then just aim at it instead of go to it. So
My favorite one of those by far was there's one where there's a group of birds, and if you get too close, they fly away. So it took me a couple tries to realize you had to put on the camo and then get close to the birds.
Yeah.
I thought
And
that was
reminds me,
most
how the
clever
hell
one.
they get that?
I hated that one.
I spent so much time on that, man.
How did his dad and his uncle get that sound if you had to go invisible to do it?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And
Probably
like
had bird
the
food or
birds would
something.
be like 20 years later or some shit. You know what I mean? Like the same fucking birds are there? Those are the plot holes I need to get,
It's
secured.
the bird plot holes.
Yeah. And then there was actually a pigeon side quest in that one too, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Always gotta have pigeons.
Yeah, the only thing with those side missions, because you unlock them kind of late in the game, so I
Yeah.
wish they were unlocked a bit earlier because it felt like, okay, I think they're cool, but now I've got to do them one after another because I'm almost done with the game.
Yeah. So like it felt more like repetitive, even though it really wasn't.
Did you guys have any other side missions that you wanted to bring up?
No, not
No.
that I could think of.
I thought it was cool when you finish the side missions, like then like the city of Harlem has like a gift for you, and there's like that big Black Lives Matter mural that's like where the gift is at. I thought that was cool because like games don't really take a political stance. They usually play very safe. So I thought that was interesting that they were really playing up like this was Miles's game, and like Harlem, like him living in Harlem was like a big part of the game and a big
Yeah.
part of like his personality.
Yeah, that was a good touch.
Yeah, it was nice. The suit was cool too. Cause you
I
got
like
a
the
suit
animated
and
suits. I
that.
played as the animated suits. All
Yeah,
the
I did
time.
that a lot too.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
thought those were-
On the initial playthrough, I think I tried to stick to like his stock suit, the new suit, the black one with the red spider. But on the when I replayed it, I was cycling through suits a lot more liberally, and like the one you get where you're like a DJ or something, that's pretty funny.
I
I don't remember what it was
Oh
called.
yeah. You had like a dead mouse helmet on or
Yeah,
something. Like
yeah.
that. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
cool.
that was funny. It's always funny to see that kind of stuff in cutscenes. It's like, what the hell?
All right, you guys have any kind of closing thoughts on Miles Morales then?
Yeah, one thing for me, I just it was just as a black man, it was cool to see like a celebration of blackness in this game, man. Just because in video games you really don't see a lot of black main characters, black villains.
haven't
So
played
I just felt
Crackdown.
like it was Crackdown has a lot. I gotta check that out.
Yeah.
But it was just nice to play a game with a black main character. You see black villains, black cast, black characters. Like you mentioned, Brian, like the Black Lives Matter sign. So it was just
Yeah.
a change of pace and kind of pretty cool to see, man. A celebration of that in the game.
Yeah, it was cool.
And it wasn't like overdone with stereotypes either, like in
Right.
Transformers, where it's like, oh, this is the black robot because he's talking like
Right,
enslaved,
right.
like stuff like that. So I thought it was really well done.
Yeah. So,
Transformers reference.
Yeah.
man, those movies are so bad, man.
The one thing I like, my closing remarks, I guess, is if you're gonna go for the platinum, wait before you play through the game again for that new game plus beat.
The first game
That-
didn't have that, right? The new game plus requirement for
had-
plat.
Correct.
So it didn't have it, but if you wanted like all the trophies, you have to play New Game Plus on Ultimate difficulty, which doesn't sound fun. So I didn't do that. But for this one, just for the platinum, you had to just beat a New Game Plus, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But I kind of did it fast, and I tried to force my way through the cutscenes. And what was weird, some of the cutscenes you just couldn't skip, and some of the other ones you had to hit start and like cycle down a bunch of things, and then hit skip cutscene. Like it wasn't just like hit start then hold X or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of games will do that when you can skip a cutscene. But the game's fun, and don't play through it fast and try to rush through it for the platinum. That's my recommendation.
Well, if you do, it's only going to take like 2.5, 3 hours.
But it made it less fun, to be honest. And I think I would have had more fun like going back to the game in like a month or a couple months, and then just playing it kind of casually.
That's true.
Like leisurely go through it and have a good time.
Yeah.
Because it's a good game, cool story, and it kind of screws up the pacing when you try to force it. But it's a cool game, man.
I was curious on your thoughts, Brian, like going directly from the first Spider-Man to this one. I feel like if I would have done that, I might have been a little burnt out, but curious at how that affected your playthrough of Miles Morales.
I was surprised because when I was done with the first game, I was like, yeah, I'm ready for this to be over with. But I was surprised that how much I enjoyed the second game because I really liked Miles's character and I really thought the Venom powers were cool and it added enough of a change. Yeah, it was different enough to where I thought it was fun. I did not. It wasn't like I was just like forcing myself to play through it just so we could talk about it now. I had a good time with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I related more with Miles' character than I do Peter Parker. And I mean, I love the game. You know, it I think was a perfect launch title. You know, something that's familiar yet new. You know, and kick ass the whole time. So.
Do you like you? Does anybody like either game better, or do you just kind of keep them separate and just say they're both good games? Or I mean, what's the consensus with you guys?
I mean, I played them back to back, so I just kind of would group them together. I mean, the highlight for me was the boss fights from the first game where you're fighting like the two supervillains at the same time, like when they have those couple things. But overall, yeah, I'd put them both right up next to each other.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I like Miles Morales as a character more than Peter Parker, but the first game, the boss fights, you know, were epic. But I like the ending of Miles Morales more than the ending of the first one. So, I mean, I'd put them on an equal playing field.
Yeah.
I like Doc Octopus way more than Finn, though. I thought that was definitely more fleshed out. So I liked him as a better villain. Because Finn, it was just kind of like... Villain. You have dinner with her, and then it's like, oh, she's the Tinkerer, who's also like the super mastermind genius. So I thought that was, yeah, a bit, I don't know, convenient. But
to backtrack a little bit, one problem I always had with the first game was exactly when Dr. Octavius became evil.
It was related to him putting those prosthetics on, like it fucked up his brain.
Yeah, but it almost seemed like he should have or did become evil before that, because like it was just very shortly after he puts the prosthetics on to the point where the villains break out of prison to the point where all the villains are working for him. So I was like, everything
it happened fast.
Yeah, it's like, so I think I don't know, it seemed like he either had a plan in place like before all that, or it just kind of went a little too fast.
Yeah, he coordinated with all the villains awfully quick. If that was just like a spur of the moment, neural fuck up when he attached those things to his head. But I mean, he always had a grudge against the mayor, right? So it's possible that he had that plan hatched up a long time ago.
And all those other guys, like the people he paired himself with, were all kind of dumb, for the most part. Not everybody was an idiot, but like some of those guys were just kind of like henchmen type mentalities. Like Rhino's kind of a moron, and then Scorpion's kind of a moron, and then, you know what I mean? Like, those guys aren't exactly, they're not the kind of guys that develop plans. Those are just people that have powers that are used to being told what to do anyway, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was the cop's name? Yuri?
Yeah, Yuri. Yeah, we didn't talk about how she turned.
She has a line in the first game where she said that Dr. Octopus scares her the most because he's so smart. Everybody else is a thug, but like Doc Ock is fucking scary.
We didn't talk about how she turned, right? Like she became like a murderer.
What?
Throughout the game.
Yuri?
Did you not? In the first game.
In the DLC.
In the DLC.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, sorry. I guess I didn't.
No, it doesn't matter.
So you know how like I get confused between, because I played the DLC almost immediately after I played the main game.
Yeah.
So it all feels like one game to me.
But she turns into a murderer then in the DLC?
Yeah, she's like...
You didn't hear that. Spoiler alert, Brian.
Spoiler alert. Brian's not going to play it anyway.
I'm not going to play the DLC. I might.
She basically turned into Dexter.
That's odd.
Yeah, I mean, it took a weird turn. That's why I was like, we forgot to mention that. But yeah, it was part of the DLC.
She even has the theme song in the beginning. She's eating eggs with hot sauce and making coffee.
Basically, she turned into Dexter, and like, I don't remember what the hell happened to her. Like, she gets away though, right?
You'll just have to wait and see, Brian.
Got to have DLC month so I can get around to playing it.
DLC month.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it for the deep dive of Spider-Man. So yeah, got nothing else. It's a good game. Everyone should play it, especially if you got Yeah, PS5. I mean, it looked amazing. The load times were incredible. Yeah, it's a good game to play on PS5.
Yeah,
Uh,
and what do you think about how easy it was to kind of just pick up and play? Like you could play in short bursts, or did you play like in long sessions?
I always played in long sessions. I mean, just with the Switch, I can do more pick up and play, but like with the PlayStation, when I play, it's at the end of the night, and I
Yeah.
usually am sitting down for like 2 or 3 hours at a session to play.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, I could see it having pick up and play appeal, but that's not how I played it.
All right, continue.
Cool.
All right, that's it. All right, thanks everyone. This has been Beat of the Month podcast. Muff, you're sleeping, but
Muff is
can you
sleeping.
tell us about social media?
Social media. You guys get on the Beat of the Month at the Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, beatofthemonth.com. Are we recording?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're live.
We're streaming on Facebook.
Check us out. Twitch. Broforce.
All right, that's going to do it. Thanks, everyone, for listening. We will catch you in 2 weeks where we are going to do a deep dive. Not a deep dive. We're going to do a rundown of space games. Everyone loves space, right, Melvin? So we're going to do a review of all the space games we've been playing in the month of March. So please stay tuned, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace out.
Beat of the month. Beat of the month. Gotta have me my beat of the month.
Oh, cashews.
Mm. I like them.
Where's your spoon? I thought you eat it with a spoon, Dirksen.
That's honey roasted peanuts.
How about
Cashews.
honey roast these nuts? What do you do for that?
That's right. Cashews you can do one at a time. Peanuts I don't like doing one at a time. I gotta take at least like 3.
Oh shit.
Why?
Who eats one peanut at a time?
I do.
No, you don't.
Psychopaths and muff.
Yeah, fucking crazy, yeah. One peanut? No.
Yes, I do.
I
Why?
refuse.
Why would you take more than one at once?
You gotta take
You-
a couple. I mean, I
Yeah.
can sympathize with
You
Darkseid
can
there.
put them in your hand, but you just eat one at a time.
Nobody eats. It's like eating one plain M&M at a time. Who the fuck does that?
You do.
I
No.
know.
Yeah,
Peanut
because
butter M&Ms are a different story.
I try to take the shell off the M&M with my teeth.
Are you a real life squirrel or what?
The shell of the M&M off with your teeth?
That's
Yeah.
like a squirrel. That's a squirrel move, man. I'm not giving you that, Muff.
Beat of the month. Beat of the month. Gotta have me my beat of the month.
Miles
What was
Morales.
that prankster chick? What was her name?
What chick?
Who?
The
Screwball?
prankster chick.
Screwball.
Those missions sucked ass.
She was in both
Screwball?
of them, right? She was in both of them?
Mhm.
Or was she just in Miles Morales?
In both.
Who was
Just
Screwball?
Oh,
Oh shit.
that
Oh,
DLC?
shit.
Somebody claimed to beat that didn't beat.
Oh, man.
Shit.
Gonna have to lower it down to just
Bullshit.
main story.
I think we need a new host. Darkseid, take over, man.
I think
Is
what
that
we really
DLC?
need.
Did we play
That's
the
got-
same game?
That's got to be DLC. Or else you guys are all fucking up the game.
No,
I think it
no,
was
it's,
DLC for the first
So it's
game.
the
It might have been
But it
yeah,
is in Miles
no,
Morales.
I think in Miles Morales it was not DLC.
Screwball?
Was she in Miles Morales? Yeah, so she's like a social media villain, like where she
Yeah.
tries to lure Spider-Man into like these traps and like records it to show her followers on social media.
Yeah, that was like a really small part, right?
If you
I mean,
if
that-
you did them all.
Had
It
challenges
depends
all
on
over
I
the
guess
city.
depends on how many of the missions you did.
I did them all.
What?
You
I mean,
didn't get-
I
you didn't-
remember that.
You
but
didn't
I
get a
don't-
platinum, bitch.
Darkseid,
hell no,
check-
I didn't do
check those
platinum.
trophies.
I remember that, but I don't remember it being that memorable. So I mean, that's good for you guys to bring up because I didn't find it noteworthy enough to write anything down about it.
That was the worst part of the game.
That's what happens when you bull charge through a game, Brian.
Bullshit. 27 hours. Bull charge my fucking cock, Darkseid.
Old charge, man.
27 hours followed by 12 hours of Miles Morales. I pumped in 40 hours of Spider-Man this
Some
month.
people put
Holy
27 hours in, some people put 97, you know? Like, no
Holy
big deal.
shit. Bull
Apple
charge
Man.
my ass.
Old charge guy over here, you know.
Moose and I
Anyway.
both put 30 plus hours in the Miles Morales.
No.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
Holy shit.
Does
We
it
both
say
played
that?
it twice.
Yeah,
Both
they
got
played
the
it
platinum.
twice.
God damn.
Yeah, sometimes you got to be a platinum guy to impress Darkseid, you know, even if it
Yeah.
ruins the game
Yeah,
for you.
That's how you earn his respect.
I need Darkseid to like me more on the PlayStation side, so I have to like overdo it.
So you have to overdo it with platinums.
Yeah.
Beat of the month. Beat of the month. Gotta have me my beat of the month.
Hold on. As a note, Muff, you got to sing the Spider-Man song for the intro.
Okay.
Instead of the normal beat of the month music, you go Spider-Man, beat of the month. Beat of the month. Whatever. Go ahead. Continue.
Look out. It's
Let's
the
do it.
beat of the month.
Let's do that right now. I'll edit it in somewhere. Muff, sing
Go ahead,
out.
Muff.
What you want? You want me to sing?
Yeah.
All right, give me a beat.
Of the month. Heyo.
You really want to beat? Melvin, you gotta do that.
Yeah, man.
No, you do a beat, man.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man, eating all the ass he can. Spins a web, it's really seeming. Up inside, I'm here for the hose. Look out. Go speed of the month.